Welcome to Art and Soul Insider. I'm Barbara Lynn Burns, and I am here to help you find your joy, your creativity, and calm through art and wellness. Whether it's exploring new supplies, guided meditations, or inspiring art projects, this is your space to recharge and create. So let's make more art and less stress together. Here we go. Hello, welcome, my friend. I am so glad you're here and that you've taken the time to join me. I hope today you will find time for yourself and to enjoy a painting process, but also in that painting process, just find a minute of peace or moments of peace. Because what we're going to be doing today, I'm going to be experimenting with gouache. I have never used gouache before. So I'm showing you this in the fact that even experts such as myself can learn things. So I'm filled with the same, well, kind of uncertainty of what I'm going to be doing, if it's going to turn out right. You know, that all those questions, right, that we bombard ourselves when we try something new. So I'm going with this as a experiment, just a play. And I would like you to join me. If you have gouache, go ahead and get it. If you don't, well, you could use watercolors or acrylics or, tempera paint even. The idea is, well, we're going to play. And even if, I just thought about it, even if you just have an art supply you've never used before, how about you try and do this image with me today? That would be kind of neat. Both of us trying something new for the first time. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to show you kind of my thought process, the way I'm going through things. Naturally, the art teacher in me will actually share techniques and other things. But, the whole idea I want for this moment to be is for us to put the world away and just be and just play. So please join me, taking some time for yourself in this moment. So let's get going. Take a deep breath, and here we go. Here we are, beginning stages of the gouache. Now, my paper is a very different style of paper in the fact that it's long and narrow. You can accomplish this by, taking a sheet of watercolor paper and then cutting it towards this size. Again, though, you don't need this size. If you want to do this work on another type of paper that's more truly like a smaller rectangle, go ahead. Do what works for you, right? So here it is. I'm using the Academy watercolor paper pad, 300 grams per meter squared. That's about 140-pound paper. I like that. It is 4.9, so about 15 inches long and about 5 inches in width. Now that's 380 millimeters or 38 centimeters and 13 centimeters. This is 100% cotton. It's acid-free. It is also hot press paper. You can use, with gouache, any type of paper you want. But if you want a nice smooth look to your work, which is what I'm doing with mine, I'm wanting to have smooth paper. Because if you have rougher paper or regular paper, which is called cold pressed has a little bit of texture to it. So you're going to get a little bumpiness when you're doing your lines and everything. Well, then there's also rough paper. But again, like I always encourage, whatever you have, use it. You don't have to go out and buy anything fancy, okay? It's one thing I just don't want you to do. But if you see what I'm doing here and you like gouache, you know, there's nothing like putting in an investment of buying something new to try out. So here is Arteza. They say premium gouache paint. It is basically these little tubes, right? Little tubes like that. And it has 2 layers. So I've got my yellows and whites. I've got my greens and blues, and this is a Prussian blue. And I've got my reds. Here's a purple. And then I've got greens, my browns, a gray, and a black. So there's, yeah, it's kind of nice. There's two whites. And the reason why it's nice that there's 2 whites, I noticed this set is not purely opaque. Now, what opaque means when you're looking, when the paint is on the paper, you can't see underneath. So you won't be able to see any white. It's completely blocked out. Well, some of these, let me try and show you. Here's one. So here's a good example. See that square? Okay, right there, that square. That says it is purely opaque. So I lay this color down. You should not be able to see the white underneath. This, okay, Viridian Green has kind of it's half filled in with the white and half open. That means it's semi-transparent. That means you can possibly see underneath it. You know, when you put the stroke of paint down, well, one bristle might be lower and skim the paper closer. You'll then see a little bit of the white. I do not think I have any transparent. No. So what's nice? Oh, here, this is transparent. My lie. Okay. Again, these are new to me. So this, see how it's all, you see is the color? That means this one is opaque. I mean, sorry, not opaque. This one is transparent. So it's very much like a watercolor when you get the water in there with the watercolor. So that's that. Now, how I can say improve this to make it more opaque, because that's what more some gouaches are known for. How I could do that is try to grab one of these, take one of these whites, and yes, it's going to change the color, but it'll make it more solid. Okay, more solid of a color because you're adding an opaque color to a transparent color. So it actually turned it more into a semi-transparent kind of thing. Okay, so that's with that. Now, there's another type of gouache paint, and I'm going to show you it. I'm not going to be working with this, but this is acrylic gouache. I mistakenly picked these up, and gouache is technically more like this one, okay? But some people like gouache more like an acrylic. So it dries a nice matte color, but it dries really fast. And once it's dry, there's no, if you go over it with water, it's going to stay the same. With this, if you put water over a section that's dry, what's going to happen is it's going to be transparent. So I'm going to show you here. So here was a blob of paint that I put on from this Arteza set. And I just let it dry completely. I actually encouraged it with a little bit of a blow dryer. Then I took a wet brush, and with the water, it started to break up this color and make it workable again. That's the magic of gouache in the original sense, like this, not the acrylic gouache. So with this aspect, it can actually be rewet, and you can go ahead and fix anything that needs fixing or whatever. That is kind of cool, right? So that is an example of what one of the things gouache paint can do. Now, one nice thing, oh, I'll bring this back to, gouache paint dries matte. Other paints, acrylics, and even watercolors, if you use them more straight out of the tube, sometimes they can have a little sheen on them. So they catch the light, and you'll see a little glint of the light, like a little white spot will show. Here, with these type of gouache paints, they dry matte. And it's really amazing. And what's so amazing about that is this type of work photographs really, really well. Because when you're photographing and you want to see the whole picture just as it is, the colors just as they are, how it appears to the eye, this gouache paint will do that. Well, the other ones, you'll maybe see some highlights of the light bouncing off of the work. Another thing that's wonderful about these gouache paints is you can do watercolor-like washes. And you can go completely to the other end where you can create something very opaque and solid. And as I mentioned, the ability to rewet it is a big thing. And also another neat thing is it dries really quick. So there we go. So we're going to, so I've got the paper. Okay, I've got the paints. I'm going to be using the ones that you can rewet with water. Again, I'm just trying these out. I'm kind of excited. I'm nervous too. I've got paintbrushes. I actually bought a new set of paintbrushes. I probably didn't have to, but you know, every now and again you got to do it. It's not a great set as such. It's kind of neat how easy it is to just pack up and go if I ever want to. It has a nice selection. Oh, I'm not even showing you the brushes. Sorry about that. It has a nice selection of brushes. You have filberts, you have flats, you have a fan, you have angled brushes, and then you have your wonderful ones that do the detail work in your work. So this is a great set. Tape. I'm going to tape the edge because I always like to have a white edge. I've got my palettes, which are leftover ice cream pail lids. I have my cloth in order to dry the brush. And then I've got my 2 jars of water. I've got paper towels. I've got a drink. Got the candles going. And naturally, I have a blow dryer. So let's get going on this work. So I don't know. I'm kind of not knowing where everything should go right now. And you feel like that too when you're learning, right? You go and it's learning how to work with the new supply that you're working with, right? It's learning, where do I want my water? Is that the best place for my palette, right? You're just figuring all that out. Now, this is a nice pad. And this pad, what's really great about it is it won't warp. So I'm not taping for the sake of holding down the paper to make sure everything's okay. I'm taping to get a nice border. That's all it's doing, because it's actually glued kind of with a plastic type of glue on the edge, and it's got a little opening. I believe it's here, or maybe, one here or there. And what you can do when you're done, you take a little knife or something like that, and you put it in there, and then you release the glue all the way around. So this isn't perfect measurements, but it's okay. Again, let's go with a spirit of adventure to try. A lot of times, I think we go and we become a little too serious with our artwork. And what I'm wanting you to encourage you to do, I'm encouraging myself to do, is to use this time as a time where you regenerate and you rejuvenate and you just still your body at the same time. So you're kind of getting the energy from quietening down. The whole purpose is for you to express yourself, but also just to have a break. And so if you're worrying about the end result of your work, what's going to happen is, well, you're not going to be relaxing. So I'm choosing a very simple visual in order to do this. Now you use whatever materials you have. If you have gouache, please join me. So I'm going to get my brush here. I think I might use a filbert. Now, I had to make an executive decision here, and it's going to be kind of funny painting this way. I am painting the visual this way, when in actuality, the visual really goes like this. But you see how much you're missing? And I know I can increase my little tripod here, but I thought you would be too far away. So I want to make sure that you can see this and see what I'm doing. That to me is more important. Again, it's the teacher in me, right? So here we go. Now, I'm wanting to do a background. It's a technique that I'm going to be using is a wet on dry. So I'm taking wet brush with the paint in it on a dry paper. So wet on dry. And this is kind of a different kind of work in the fact that, say, one area dries and then I put a wet on top, it might actually get a hard line. Now, I might not, again, remember this is my first time using them, because remember how this can re-wet. So that's kind of a bonus there. So I'm wanting it more kind of green down here and more blue up here. Now, I like this blue. It's called sky blue. What do you know? It is opaque. See that? Now, I'm wondering how these two will look together. No, I don't think so. How about this one? This one is, you see this one, ultramarine blue. It is transparent. So maybe those two might be nice. I don't want it dark. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add a little white to it. So this is transparent. I'm going to add some white to it. And yeah, so I'm going to add white to that. And I want it lighter. I don't want it dark because I want my visuals to show up. Ooh, that really came out. So I'm just using what's typically called white. And then I'm going to do I like the sky blue. I'm going to maybe bring out my white just in case, right? So I'm just going to place it a little further away. And then what type of green? Oh, I'm wanting a brighter green, I think. So there is pale green that is semi-transparent and sap green. I'm going to go, intuition says sap green. So I'm just going to go with it. I don't know these supplies, right? So let's just play. Oh, that's a nice color. That's going to be nice and bright. Again, I am doing it kind of like a watercolor effect where it's going to be just all, mixed together, more flowing. No lines as such. I'm not expecting. So what I need to do is I'm going to get a knife to mix my colors. Now, I'm unsure if I even have enough color. Time will tell. Oh, interesting. Look at how similar the ultramarine is to this sky blue. Boy, I made a good choice, and they're the same kind of family. So maybe I'll add an extra ultramarine blue. I'm okay in some ways not having this all mixed properly. You know what I mean? Like thoroughly, because if a little white stays on there, that's okay. So ultramarine, okay, we're just going to do a little bit more. There we go. Got a little pug color in there, but I'm okay with that. When I said a little color on there, I meant on my tube there. Okay. Okay. Boy, that's very similar. I'm going to take some more. Maybe I should add just a bit of the... No, I don't. I have 2 blues, or 3 blues. I don't think the other blue is going to look as nice. So I was right in saying that this blue would work. Now, after this one, if it doesn't go a little deeper blue, I'm okay with that. Really, I am. Again, this is play. Oh, there we go. A little bit deeper. All right, just a bit. Okay, so here we go. So what I'm going to do, it's wet on dry. So I'm taking my brush. I'm going to add, actually, now that I'm thinking of it, I'm going to add a little bit of liquid, because I'm wanting it to be, you know, a little flowing, right? So I'm just going to take my brush and go like that, add a few drops. Add a few drops right beside this one. Now what I'm going to do green more on the bottom. Okay, and the other colors on top because of the sky. Okay, so here we go, making room. Okay. So I've dipped my brush into my paint. I kind of did off camera, sorry, and then I went like this and lifted some moisture, okay? And then I pressed the brush into the paper, okay? And then because there's water, you see that in my paper, in my brush, you're seeing some lightening of this color. So, well, yeah, it's very similar colors. That is so cool. So now I know that's sky blue. Oh, I forgot to get some water. You see how much opaque that is compared to the other one? Yeah, so I'm just going to play, and I can add water right on the paper like that in my brush, right? And then I'm going to add some more of this. Remember, it's that transparent one mixed with the white. Remember, I'm trying to go right to the edge, because when I pull off the paint, or tape, I mean, it's going to be a lovely, crisp white line there. Okay, and now, cleaning my brush really well, I'm going into the green. That's sap. No, it wasn't the sap green. It was the pale green, or what was it? No, it was the sap green. Oh, look at that, huh? And I'm just putting my paint in here. I'm seeing some of my brush marks, right? But I mean, I could add more water to dilute that even more, right? I am just plain. And what happens, you know, the perfectionist in me is going, what the heck is happening? A little nervous, right? Because we so much like things to be very orderly. I'm bringing some of that green up here just to mix it, okay? There we go. So I'm not sure what I'm wanting. Yeah, I'm thinking of leaving the marks because what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be painting very solid with my colors that I'm going to be doing here. Okay, so it's starting to dry. There we go. Oh, everything to the edge. I'm okay with that. Just bringing it like that. It's kind of dirty here. And that's the thing with these colors. What I haven't done yet is I haven't created color swatches. And you know what color swatches are. You actually take a blank piece of paper and you play and basically put each color down. So you put each color down, write the name of the color, and then you know how that color looks. And then on top of that, you can do kind of a combination. So it's like, you remember those old addition charts, like 1 + 1 equals, and then you went, and oh, there was a 2, and then, you know, it was kind of a grid-like thing. You can do this with paints. So you do your paints all in one row at the top, and then all in one row in the side, and then you match them, and then equal amounts, and then do them. You see? So I'm going to blow dry this now. Notice how matte it is, right? So, okay, now let's begin our little flowers. So we're going to do the flowers very much like in the Kandinsky style. So Kandinsky, he did this beautiful work. And actually, I replicated the work somewhat in my own way on one of my videos. So if you're interested in looking at that, so it'll be right up here. Kandinsky style that I did, and it was called circles and concentric squares, or concentric circles with squares. So it was circles, and they were concentric in the fact they had smaller circles and smaller circles inside of them. That is what we're going to be doing with this. So what I noticed with the reds, there's one red, vermilion red, is fully opaque, as well as crimson red. Scarlet red is transparent. Now that's interesting because I noticed in another color, I think it was a watercolor. Yeah, the reds were very transparent. It was very interesting. So this this red is a vermilion. Vermilion is very much like, has a little orange to it. So I'm going to take a paper towel and clean my palette there. Not my palette, my knife as such. Okay. So, and then I'm going to get a smaller brush, because what I'm going to be doing is working in, okay, I've got a round here, That's a nice round. I've got another really nice round that I like. And this is a gum bracker. Now this, this set is called Famui, I guess. I don't know. So I'm going to add a bit of water. You want this, your acrylics. I'm so used to saying acrylics. Your gouache, they say, like a cream, like consistency. So it doesn't take a whole lot of water to make it cream-like. That's pretty good. Okay. So with that, I'm going to create a circle. Do not worry about your circles being perfect, right? We're not going for perfection. We are just playing. Now, I have to watch out that I don't make this too liquidy, right? Because then what's going to happen is I'm going to reactivate the color underneath. So this, even though it is opaque, I just don't have enough solid color on for it to be so. So I'm not concerned about that. I'm just going to have to let that dry and then do another coat. You want to get your, wherever your circles are, make sure you have them exactly the color you want before you put another color on top, okay? So I'm going to keep that red because I'm going to use it in another way. I'm going to be using it later on to do smaller circles. I started speaking, but then my blow dryer, I started my blow dryer. Silly me. So what you'll notice with this, with it being more, I'm using it straight from the tube, and especially with this one being opaque, you're going to find that it's just going to be in such a way, when you get your whole color on there, it's going to be very flat in color. Yeah. So I like when I'm doing circles, I actually start at the edge and then come in, because then that way I'm not building up. And you probably noticed when I did my first coat, I built up a line of paint, a thicker line of paint. You don't want that, right? So this is, I find, the better way. Still seeing some color underneath. So I'm just going to maybe 3 coats. Play is so important. Number 1, it's a great stress reliever. We are so busy in this life. We don't have, most of the time, I know there's some people that still work very heavily physically, but, we are more sedentary in our jobs, and the fact that we work at desks or, that type of thing. So we don't get rid of our stress through necessarily manual work, right? That's why for me exercise is so important. But this is another reason why play is important, because it allows us to just kind of get rid of some of that energy that we've built up. I'm going to actually leave that dry because I don't need that anymore right now. And I'm going to go, get a blue. I'm going to try this blue. This blue might not show up that well, but we're going to try it, right? You don't know. Again, I'm learning this palette just as you are. brand new. This is called cerulean blue. So let's, I'm gonna do one a little bit off. I'm gonna do it over here. Remember, it's going like this, right? So I'm gonna do it a little oval. And if your circles look like ovals, that's okay. Your circles look like ovals. Variety is the spice of life. So with this, we are going to create a sense of unity in the fact that we are working with our flowers the same way. They're going to be concentric. So there's going to be a large circle, then a smaller circle inside, a smaller circle inside that. I'm thinking we'll maybe do a maximum of 3 colors. Nothing more than that. That's why we might need our smaller brushes. So this worked out nice. This cerulean blue on top of this, was a Prussian blue, I believe, yeah. No, ultramarine, right. Prussian blue is completely different. There, that's looking good. I'm liking that. But you notice how flat, look how flat that color is. Look how flat that red is. I don't see any brush strokes, right? Nothing. So that's kind of neat. There we go. So I'm going to keep that blue. Like that blue. Now let's go for a yellow. Now with the yellows, I'm going to look and see what I have. I have a semi-transparent. Oh, good, I've got an opaque. This one's a yellow ochre. And then this is kind of like more peachy. But I want to go with this one. So this one is mid-yellow. So making my just a little bit of paint. You know what I'm going to do, now that I'm thinking of it, I'm going to take out the colors. I have the colors in front of me here. I'm going to take out the colors that I'm using, just that I know, because, you forget. This was vermilion I used, right? Yeah. Okay, and the cerulean blue. Okay. So these are the colors I'm going to use for the flowers. Looks nice. Okay, and I might bring in a few more, but then after that, yeah, I don't know. Ooh, yeah, nice lime green would be kind of cool too. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of water to my gouache, my yellow that I've added. Okay, I'm going to mix it in. Make sure that I came pretty close to that red, so I got to make sure I don't mix in there. Oh, I got a little green in my brush. Oh, well. I'm going to change the color of the yellow a bit, but that's okay. Let's see. I'm going to do a little more of again, an oval I'm going to do. There we go. So really showing through, even though this is opaque. Again, I don't have the solid color on it. So we're just going to let that dry, right? And then I can put on some more. I'm just getting rid of those paint edges that I did when I pull my brush kind of on the side of it. Yeah. It's very weird to be painting a picture on its side. I'm sure it's very weird looking at it at the side. See how quick they dry? Really quick. If this was acrylics, boy, that would take much longer. So, and play's important for us mentally. It helps us relieve stress. So, when you come and you do your work with art, try to have play days. So, it's important, if you want to, I'm not saying it's wrong to want your work to look good, but I think sometimes we can be so hard on ourselves that, yeah, it's good to have play. And what I also want to share about that is, well, children learn through play. And that's how we learn as well. A lot of times, we've been taught by the educational system is you sit down and you study and, you do that type of stuff. But it's very important to just play for playing sake. Through play, I have found out that, I learned something new I could do with this technique, or not technique, or more of my supplies. I've learned something new, how to work with this. That's cool. And I have done that. And it's really neat to know that because of play, this is what happened. I learned a brand new way of working with the materials I love. So I'm still seeing some color underneath there. You see that? A little bit. I'm just going to do one more coat. It's almost important to almost set days that you're going to play. There's this book by Julia Cameron. It's called The Artist's Way. And in that book, she shared that we should go on what's called artist dates. So that is a day where you get to explore something or just go and be. It's almost like a little extra bonus day you have for yourself. Now, if you're a parent, that might be hard to do, right? With all your kids. But, it would be of benefit if you could get a 2-hour break, right? If you have a partner, tell them to say, honey, I'm going to take some time. Now, it's important to be fair. If they get a 2-hour block, or if you get a 2-hour block, they should get a 2-hour block, right? So, think of it like that. But then you go and you just play, and you take care of yourself in that way. So you could go for a cup of coffee and just read. You could go to an art gallery. I'm going to try this light apricot. Again, it's kind of an orangey thing. I could make orange, but I'm thinking I'm not. I'm just going to play with this. Yeah, this is very pastel-y. Very interesting. It'd be interesting to add a little bit of red. I'm going to change it. I'm going to add a little bit of red to it, just to intensify it a bit more. There we go. So there it is, the color. Now I'm going to add some water. So you want, again, a creamy consistency. That's what I've read in the books. Okay, let's make a smaller one. I'm going to make a smaller one down here. Oh, I've got a little green. My water's green. I don't have, downstairs in the basement, it's an unfinished basement that I have, and I don't have a sink. So I have to stop and go upstairs and do all that, which isn't bad, but, it just takes away from the momentum of what you're doing. Now that paint was really thick. I think it's almost thick. It might actually crack. So that's one thing not to do. But I'm playing, right? We're trying it out. I'm going to do a coat inside. Again, does not have to be a perfect circle. It could be an oval if you want it. Could be a circle with a flat side. you do what you want. So again, with this one, I'm going to need, let it sit, and then come over it again with the same color. Because again, this type of gouache, whenever there's moisture, it reactivates the colors. So when I'm painting here, I'm reactivating the red, right? I'm just going to see if I can scoop some up. Oh yeah, I did it too thick there. See, it did kind of a divot. There we go, a little bit better. That's okay. We'll fill it. Oh, this one, see, this one cracked. So I maybe added too much water. You see that? You see those cracks? Interesting. Again, all about learning. Just playing. And I remember, playing with, my mom gave me some of her tin pan, for pastry. She gave me the little ones that, you get butter tarts in and everything. So I was playing with those and just experimenting and playing and, mixing the dirt and the rocks with some water, what was the effect? That's where children learn the most, is in their play. And I think as artists and as human beings, play is important. So you just have to give yourself the freedom not to feel the incredible burden of always having to make something perfect or beautiful. Just play. And I know when I'm done this, I'm going to have a better grasp of what gouache can do and what I can do to improve my work with it, right? Yeah. So I think blow dry again. The paint is getting very dry on my palette. I live in Alberta, so when this paint dries quick, in normal circumstances, it's going to dry really quick in my world. Because in my world, we have, Alberta's very dry. It's a dry place. So just things to be aware of. I think that's pretty solid. That's okay. So I'm going to clean my brush here. Let's see. This is semi. This is lemon yellow. So I was thinking maybe adding yellow on top of there. Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. I'm gonna maybe use the mid yellow that I used before. Just trying to find the name. Now, see how it's kind of drying there? Again, that's the beauty of this type of paint. I can go away for an hour, 2 days, and all I have to do is come back and add water, and this will activate it again. You see? Isn't that cool? Yeah, so you don't have to, acrylics, we have to cover up and do all that. You don't have to do that with this. Yeah, you just reactivate it. I want to do a smaller guy in here. A round brush would be better. Yeah, so I'm thinking I'm going to transfer to a round brush. So it's very important not to necessarily work your brushes over your work, because remember, wetness is going to make a difference. Whoops, that's way too wet. I'll maybe add a little bit of white to that red. Oopsie. Oops, I activated the blue there. So if you don't like something rewetting, and that's the tricky part with this, I would suggest using the acrylic gouache. I believe you still have the same effect where the final result is very matte, but then you're not, when this is dry and you put another color on top, it's okay. It's not going to, see how it reacts, reactivating the blue there. There's some little green coming out of it now, right? Doesn't do any of that. So that, I mean, that's the one thing, you know, you'd have to really learn to use this type of paint. Yeah. So let's. I said I was going to do a red. I'm going to bring a red, scarlet red or crimson red. Crimson red is actually an opaque. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to add some white to it. And I would put my palette over to show you, but again, it is wet here, so don't want to do that. So I'm going to put about the same amount of red, same amount of white, and I'm going to clean my brush really well. My water is now kind of a very pretty green. Very nice, isn't it? It's like, yeah. So, but I've got a clean water one, right? So I'm good. Okay, so I've got a little water in my brush. Now I'm going to mix it. Mix it with the red. Oh, there's a little liquid there. Maybe bring that over. Oh, that's a nice red. Kind of a, it's turning like pink, but it's still pretty red, isn't it? But I like it. Yeah, I think it'll work. I'm doing a mishmash of colors here. One way that you could affect your work is possibly doing more analogous colors and that sort, right? I'm just kind of painting for the sake of painting. I'm going to do a little tiny one here. Trying to make it tiny, but my brush kind of, I'm going to make it a little more oval, I guess. There we go. I'm going to do one here. Okay, so that's my first coat. Feel pretty good about that. I didn't get too much purple in there. Make sure I go in the right spot, right? Let's see. There's a little bloop in there, so I'm just going to kind of do that to it. I actually prefer using a round brush. I know there's, flat brush would be good in a situation like this to fill in. And you will find that you'll like certain brushes. So it could be a flat, it could be a filbert. If you're interested in learning more about brushes and the different types of brushes, just in the comments, just write the word brushes. And I will do one to show all the different types of brushes and the choices you have. How's that? I think that would be great. But again, comment brushes if you're interested in something like that. It's a very nice red. I mean, I was going for pink, but I think I'll make a pink with this still. It'll just be adding more red to it, right? Or more white. Getting my colors mixed up here. Yeah, we've built up so much stress in our lives because we are so attached to the outcome. I'm not saying I don't like a good painting that I do, and it looks really good at the end, and if your chest is puffed out a little bit, that's it's always nice, right? But at the same time, we can't forget that it's sometimes just too much to expect us to be perfect all the time. I think sometimes as women we can have this sense of perfection, and it's really tough. So see here, I got a little green or blue from the blue circle before, so I actually got a little green in it. I'm okay with that, But what I'm going to do is add more paint, so it's going to hide it a bit. Now, if you want just the pure color, then you start a new section, you know, you might have to get a different new palette, right? But just, you know, work in that way, just to, you know, get the colors you want. Now, I'm wetting my brush again, and I'm going to be putting it in here. So we want a cream, light, like consistency. Red on my brush. I wiped it on my towel, but I guess it was a little bit up near the ferrule. So, okay, let's dry another coat of this. I might have to get a smaller brush. I find working with larger brushes, your strokes are a little freer. Now, you know, maybe something like this, you don't want your strokes to be as free. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm thinking another coat just to, you know, I see a little stripe of, again, the green, because my brush was feeling a little dry. Now, I could be wrong, right? This is the plane. You are practicing and seeing, okay, what's working with this? You know, it's talking about practicing. What's a really good idea to get used to materials, especially paints, is actually to do those color swatches. Then you're actually playing with the paint just as it is, not adding any colors or anything, but you're getting used to the color and everything like that. And that can be very helpful, you know, because you're learning more about the paint instead of just going straight into a painting like this. I'm going to bring some green up here. I know it's kind of weird seeing a green flower, but why not, right? Why not? So I've got some water in my brush here. And let's just do one. Oh, let's do one over here. One thing nice about playing, I was thinking that it's almost a really good moment of mindfulness, because you're really not thinking about other things. You are really enraptured in the moment, that you are just being here at this time, in this moment, just playing. It doesn't have a lot of contrast because there's a little bit of green here, you see? But what's going to make it pop is the colors I'm going to be putting inside of it. I'm probably going to add a nice warm color, so that's going to bring it out. So it's with something like this, what really works well is it's a play between your warm and your cool colors. And, you know, that's what, you know, because look at this. This is a cool color and I put a warm color. So then there's that little pop of it, right? Which is kind of cool. Okay, so one more coat. I need a little bit of clean water there, because I've got like a thing of a solid piece of green there. I might not have enough paint, but I think it'll work. Now, you don't have to do like with acrylics. You can do some lovely blends. I've seen some amazing artwork, right? So, you know that it's not really flat like this. You can paint how you usually paint in some ways with your acrylics and get the same techniques and stuff. It's just that the end result is very matte. You know, I'm just doing a very simplistic way of looking at things. Nothing too hard, you know. So let's go. I'm going to make a pink. So I'm going to do a pink. It's kind of right there. It's kind of a little plastic is running out there. So I'm going to take a little bit of the red. Okay. So there's my little bit. And I'm going to add more white.
than red.